Another test of focus. And the third test, mostly for lighting. And yet another test, because the last one didn't autofocus, and I don't know why. I'm Temple West, and this is Tigger. He's my foster puppy, and he's so cute. It's Temple West. It's been a while since I've done a video, and the main point of this video is to address the question of where's book 3, which is a legitimate question asked by mostly very nice and supportive people, and by a couple of weirdly aggressive people as well. The short and unsatisfying answer is it's coming. The more accurate answer is it's coming sometime. I have been dealing with some health issues, as I've alluded to on Instagram and other places, and I thought I would address some of that so you can understand a little bit better why it's taking so darn long to write this third book. Let's go back 20 years, because I'm aging. Let's start with the first things I developed as health issues. One being depression. It comes and goes in severity. Also anxiety, which comes and goes in severity. Fortunately, because of the pandemic and supply chain issues, I had to switch some prescriptions a couple months ago just because I couldn't get my prescriptions every month because they didn't exist. There wasn't enough of them to go around. So I switched to different things, and unfortunately those different things, A, didn't work as well, and B, also had some really awful side effects that were very bad for my mental health. So I have just this week gotten to, I have just this week switched back to my previous prescriptions, and they're already working better and I'm happier, but it is an adjustment. The other thing that is newer that I have found out is that I have ADD, which I didn't know about. Ooh, that was a weird burp. Come here on camera because you're so cute. Oh, endorphins, they're so nice. I don't even know what I was going to say anymore. No, do you know what I was going to say? Oh, thank you. Put it to my face. Okay. ADD, yes. That's ironic. I'm pretty sure I've had it my entire life, but didn't know because it presents so differently in men than women. And actually my older brother was diagnosed with it in high school and had more of the traditional symptoms, I guess you could say. I went to a very small school, excelled in that environment. I did very well academically. I was the student body president. I was involved in everything you could be involved with. There was no signs at the time, I think, that I was ADD. I'm learning that having an external structure to my life helps me quite a bit. Trying to create my own structure is not something I'm skilled in. With this new diagnosis, I am kind of trying to do some more research into ADD and methods that can help people like me get stuff done without that external structure, because as many of you know, I have not had a regular job in the past year and a half, and honestly, I've spent most of my adult life freelancing, and that's when I first started noticing, oh, there's no structure. I don't know what to do. I could do anything, and therefore I can do nothing. He's so chill. You can just smoosh on him all day, and he doesn't care. Also, I can't decide if I have Hermione hair today or Hagrid hair. It is very floofy. I had my hair up in milkmaid braids from a Rachel Maxine tutorial, and now my hair is very floofy, and I kind of like it a lot. ADD. The other mysterious component to my health cocktail is something that doctors are calling chronic fatigue syndrome, which is basically a catch-all for the hundreds of thousands of people in America, and I'm sure more worldwide, that are chronically fatigued for no reason. Basically, all of us, we get our blood work done and it's always normal and within parameters. There's nothing obvious trauma-wise to the body or anything that explains it. But short of alternative testing, I don't know, MRIs or CAT scans or lumbar punctures or more invasive, expensive testing to see if there's something else going on, the blood work has never shown anything out of the ordinary. And that's true of every other person I've read about who has this diagnosis. So I sleep 10 to 12 hours per night. It used to be worse because I'd be tired, but I couldn't sleep. So I have started taking medication that helps me sleep because I used to just lie awake for hours, so exhausted. Then I take a stimulant in the daytime to help me get going, which it helps. Even so, it's it's like being half asleep all the time. It's like, when you first wake up, and especially like on a Saturday morning or a morning when you sleep in, and it's not your alarm that wakes you up. You just kind of wake up, and you could either get up and start your day, or you could go back to sleep. And that's frequently how I feel all day. Like I never really wake up. So the medication does help. It doesn't get me to the level of what I would consider to be a normal person's alertness or, speaking of, energy levels or productivity. I'm a person who hyperfocuses, I think again, because of the ADD. And so I can spend 12 hours doing one thing, working on one project, and not eat or drink or go to the bathroom or get dressed or be distracted by anything and get something done in one day. Or I spend days doing literally nothing because I can't make my brain focus. I mean, the physical fatigue sucks and I hate it, but the worst part is not being able to think clearly, not being able to put coherent thoughts together. Writing as a kid, up until like 2 years ago, it was the only tool I really had. We weren't poor. I don't think I could quite say that, but we were barely not poor. We always had food and stuff, but we very rarely had anything extra. New clothes was a big deal. Eating out was a really big deal. And even then we wouldn't get drinks. It was always water. We just knew that. So I didn't have fancy tools like this camera or my computer for most of my life. Even in high school, I would drive an hour to my friend's house because he had a camcorder and he had editing software. And so I would turn all of my school projects into video projects because I enjoyed it. It stimulated my brain in a fun way, and it was worth the effort of the 2-hour drive multiple times a week to work on these school projects. But for the most part, I didn't have access to any of that stuff, and I had access to words because words are free and they were in my brain, and I come from a family that reads a lot, and so it was my way to escape my circumstances. Oh, Milo! Hey, no part. Milo. Okay. Sorry. Oh, words were my way to either escape my circumstances or at least to expand my circumstances to let me live outside of the smallness of my world and the limits that I had, usually due to money, of not being able to travel much or experience sort of fantastical things that I wanted to experience. Writing made my world bigger for 30 years. And then I bought this house 2 years ago, which was the biggest dream come true I have ever had, and it was amazing. And I started doing more physical projects because the house needed work. And also the pandemic happened. About 2 months into the pandemic, I wrote a screenplay in I think 3 days. The idea, the outline, and the first draft of the feature-length screenplay movie script in 3 days. And I haven't written anything since. It's been 3 years, basically, since I've written anything. I think part of this is due to just the way the pandemic has changed all of our brains and lives, not to mention the economy and all that kind of stuff. Between all of my health conditions, the anxiety, the depression, the fatigue, and the ADD, I feel like the language portion of my brain has just stopped working. I can read. I know how to read, but I very rarely read books anymore. Even long articles, I struggle with. Emails that are more than about a paragraph long, it takes so much energy to make the words make sense, to even make the words focus in front of my eyeballs on the screen or on the page, which is alarming when words are your living, words are your job. And to not be able to rely on them anymore, or to not be able to interpret them anymore. The whole system isn't working between my body and my brain, between the fatigue and the ADD and the lack of structure and the economy and the depression and anxiety and just the way I'm wired is kind of all fritzing at the same time. And I am hopeful that something will change. But until then, I have let go of the guilt of not working on book 3 because it was just bad. It was bad for my mental health to carry that continuously. There are other things I've had to put down, like I was kind of devastated when I came back from Ohio and like half my garden was burnt to a crisp because I hadn't arranged for anyone to water it while I was gone, and it was like in the 90s and didn't rain, and then I just decided, you know what? It happened. Some of it's still growing. I'm letting that go too. It accomplished it accomplished for me what I needed it to accomplish, which was really helped my mental and physical health in the early spring, planting things and creating garden beds and doing all that, and now it's stressing me out and I need to let it go. I'm trying to figure out a new way of being, a new way of thinking about productivity, about self-worth, about ADD, and about how I function in this world. Instead of just feeling upset all the time, I'm trying to go with the flow of the river I am being dragged along in. A lot of days I'm not succeeding very well. A lot of days I'm just sitting in one spot trying to battle the awfulness in my head. And some days, like today, I can shoot a video or work on a dress or sew something or plant something or alter something or paint something. And those days are fantastic and I love those days. But I have to accept too that they are not the majority of my days for now. I know that's probably not the answer most of you were hoping for, but I'm working on it. I'm swimming, just keep swimming, just keep swimming. Pixar philosophy. And puppies help a lot. Puppies, Milo, fostering these little guys. Ow, that's my finger. That's my finger. Yeah, thank you. I hope it makes sense. I'm doing what I can do, and I'm letting go of what I can't. Which is hard. It is not in my nature. I am wired and raised to be good at all things and be productive at all times and be self-sufficient. That is all stuff I'm kind of sucking at right now. Hamster puppies. Wrapping myself in puppies. Oh, no. Mwah, 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 mwah. For real, you should try puppies as just like a way to live. A little smelly sometimes, but oh, it's so nice. You're so nice. Thank you. Oh, okay. I'm gonna wrap this up, but hopefully you'll see more videos from me. When I'm capable of continuing book 3, I will. It is not a lost cause. It is not going to happen. Double negative. I'm hopeful today. I'm not hopeful tomorrow. That's okay too. It changes. It flows. I'm breathing through it all. So thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.